Hey guys, welcome back. Last time we found a potential suspect in the death of Juan Corrida. And Maya maybe escaped from her kidnapper? Adrian did it? That's what it looks like. Dude, no way. That woman couldn't do anything like that. Why does that sound weirdly sexist? I don't know why. In court today, there will be a mountain of evidence that will implicate you. Mountain of evidence? I'm certain there is someone out there trying very hard to pin this whole thing on you. Please, Mr. Lawyer, dude, like I said yesterday, I'm refreshing like a spring breeze, alright? I can't let any sort of scandal ruin that. I understand. Well, it's almost time. Mia, we must get a complete acquittal today. I know. And I can't focus on Maya's situation right now. Or Pearl's either. No matter what, I have to focus on winning this case by the end of today. Indeed. Well, let's get going. It's him. Oh. This is Wright. Good morning. This is it, Mr. Attorney, the day of the trial. Maya, she's unharmed, right? Well, when I checked on her earlier this morning, she seemed a bit, how shall we say, tired. Don't worry, people don't die that easily. It takes 3 days, no, week without food, 3 days without water. Besides, what you should really be concentrating on is winning today's trial. For my sake as well as yours, you must win today's trial. Which is why I sent you a little present this morning. Present? What other role would you want to give me? You'll figure it out once the trial starts, and even if you don't like my gift, I expect you to graciously accept it and win today's contest, if you please. Wait. The kidnapper sent me a present. Miss Lawyer dude, who is that? No one. It has nothing to do with you. So forget you heard anything. Dude, did your nose just get longer? Let's do this! Court is now in session for the trial of Matt Engard. Are the prosecution and defense ready? The defense is ready, Your Honor. I say, Mr. Wright, what happened to Miss Von Karma? I don't know, Your Honor. Why are you getting mad at me? Your Honor? Please be quiet, bailiffs. Court is in session. If you must tell me something, please keep it brief. Now, then, what is it? Prosecutor Von Karma is this morning. Miss Von Karma was shot by an unknown gunman. What the fuck? Not Francesca! What? Shot? He fucking shot Von Karma? Somehow, I think this is the present that man was talking about. His present. Von Karma is one of the top prosecutors in the country at the moment. If she were to disappear, it would be to your advantage. This is totally insane. Miss Von Karma, is she alright? I don't have that answer. She's alive and in stable condition. That's good. Phew. I thought he'd show up. What is he doing on the witness stand? Oh my gosh, hold on. Okay, we're still recording. I leaned back because I was laughing, and because of my weird ass setup, because I have to use the second computer right now, I almost pulled that second computer off the desk with me. We're good. Oh boy. Why is he on the witness? Due to the circumstances, Miss Francesca Von Karma cannot appear in court today. I, Miles Edgeworth, will be taking her place. And weren't you, also... I'm not on the case. I can fix this. The prosecution is ready, naturally. Miss Von Karma was shot in her right shoulder and is currently undergoing surgery. Luckily, I have looked this case over and am familiar with the details. The prosecution seeks to prove the guilt of Mr. Madangard. The court acknowledges the prosecution. Right. I finally found the answer I was struggling for on my long journey this past year. By the time this case comes to an end, you too will know the answer. Now then, the prosecution would like to call its first witness. Please bring Detective Gumshoe to a witness stand. Witness, your name and occupation.
My name's Dick Gumshoe, sir. I'm a detective down at the precinct, for now.
For now?
After this trial's over, I'm supposed to turn in my badge, sir.
Detective Gumshoe. The prosecution has no need for a depressed witness. Lift your head up and face forward like a proud officer, Detective Dick Gumshoe.
Yes, sir.
Now, let's have your testimony. If we want to explore the various facets of the case, we must start with that. Get ready, Phoenix. This is going to be one very rough fight. Yeah, it would have to be, with Edgeworth as my opponent. The answer he was struggling for. Interesting. Show me this answer you finally found, Edgeworth. At least I've been able to finally figure out how to do Gumshoe.
And this murder happened at the Heroes Award ceremony, sir. And the victim, Juancarita, was found dead in his hotel room. After looking into the cause of the death, I believe he was definitely murdered, sir. At first, we thought of something suspicious about the empty guitar case. However, we later found out the guitar case had nothing to do with the murder.
After the award ceremony ended, the victim was alone in his room?
Yes, sir. And both the victim and defendant went alone to their rooms, sir.
I see. Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. Huh. Okay. There's, found dead. Definitely murdered. I'm gonna press that. And why did you think that?
Because it was empty, pal. And Jammin' Ninja don't go anywhere without his bright red guitar. And we couldn't find anywhere to see in the ground.
Oh, but how about this theory? If Dan really wanted the guitar and did the crime to get it, how's that?
We thought that too, but...
But?
And the only fingerprints on the guitar case were the victims.
Only the victims, huh? I see. So much for my theory then. Okay, so we needed that. What convinced you it had nothing to do with the case?
And the guitar wasn't at the Gatewater Hotel that night.
Well then, where was it?
And the bright red guitar was eventually found at the TV studio. The victim, Juancarita, had apparently only taken the case with him, sir.
Why did he only take the case? So, you mean he forgot to put the guitar inside the case?
Yes, sir. Even when he was on stage for the ceremony, he didn't have his guitar.
So the guitar case was empty before he even got to the hotel.
Yeah, that's right. So it really had nothing to do with the case after all.
Our first order of business should be to gather more info from his testimony. Now, there might be a trap set up for us somewhere. Maybe. However, setting off traps is part of a lawyer's job, too. If you say so. Of course, we're supposed to escape from them, too, wouldn't you say? Okay. What else? Okay, we don't have anything that necessarily goes against anything. The only thing we have is the water that's on top and the fact that the wine glass was empty. I guess press that. The cause of death, wasn't that because Mr. Corrida was stabbed in the chest?
Only a careless amateur would believe something as brainless as that, pal. And take a good hard look at the crime photo. Now, real pros' attention would be drawn here to this bandana.
Banana.
His bandana, sir. And that's the thing wrapped tightly around his neck, sir.
Yes, I see. His banana says it's Then what about the knife?
It seems to have been stuck in the victim's chest on purpose after his death.
We have a crafty murderer on our hands here. I believe that is enough. First, the victim was choked to death with his bandana. Then, after the victim was dead, the killer deliberately stabbed him with a knife. Which brings me to my next point. Why then did the police arrest Matt Engard? Because there was reason enough to suspect him. Here it comes. Looks like Edgeworth's back in full swing. Very well. Detective Gumshoe, please testify about this matter.
Yes, sir. And Matt Engard and Margarita were huge rivals with each other. And they each thought the other was in his way. That's motive in my book. As for evidence, there's a Gem and Ninja's button. And ripped off the ninja costume and found in Mr. Engard's Akama. And the defendant's fingerprints were also all over the knife. The defendant brought the knife for the crime, which makes this a premeditated murder.
So the defendant's fingerprints were found on a knife used in the stabbing.
It's sort of sticky on the handle, so the fingerprints came out pretty clearly, sir. And there's his button. That was found in the defendant's clothes, was it? And this button also is covered in blood. Yes, and we know that's the blood on the victim's... That the blood on it was the victim's blood, sir.
What? All of this points very clearly to the defendant, doesn't it? Yes, it most certainly does, Your Honor. Ready to give in yet, Wright? I'll find the hole in your argument somehow. You can press as hard as you like. Just hurry up with your pointless questions. Okay. We don't have anything to prove otherwise. The only thing is we do have a motive with someone else. Rivals, I'm trying to think of the Hakama, is that the pants or the top? The fingerprints all over the knife. When was this button found?
Pretty soon after the body was found, we rounded up everyone who knew Mr. Kurita, and we did a search on them all. That's when we found the button.
So it was almost immediately after the murder. The police didn't have the free time to lollygag and play tricks, unlike some people. Hey, what is he trying to say about me here? How are the fingerprints arranged on the knife?
What do you mean, pal?
By examining the fingerprints, you could determine how the defendant held the knife. For example, did he hold it normally or overhand or...
Oh, that's what you mean. Well, we didn't actually think of that.
I can't believe the bumbling of this department. Hopeless. Were you paying attention to the testimony, right? The defendant's fingerprints were all over the knife. There's no way to determine how the knife was held at the moment of the murder. So is the defendant the owner of this knife then? There's no way this is a premeditated murder, even if he brought the knife.
Sorry, pal, this isn't some pocket knife. And it doesn't fold, so it's not great for walking around with either.
It's not good. If the prosecution can prove it was premeditated murder, we're done for. Phoenix? Yes. There's something very interesting about what the detective just said now. Think carefully before it's too late. Button covered in the victim's blood and a knife with Engard's fingerprints. Be grateful. If the judge was more rash, he would have already pounded his gavel in closing. We're still in a world of trouble. Well, before any battle, you must find your enemy's weakness. So let's find the weakness in his testimony, no matter how small it may be. Okay, Phoenix? Ha. We press that. Let me press those. Like, there's not really... I guess the hakama is like the bottom part. Or is it... God, I feel really bad that I don't know this, but I do not know enough about, like, samurai, like, garb. Okay. I think we're gonna just press everything and see what happens. But in terms of popularity, Matt Engard won, did he not?
Yeah. You know what's ironic, pal? Uncle Rito was one step behind Mr. Engard and everything. And this year seemed like he finally got up, ready for the big final showdown.
Yeah, but Mr. Kurita lost the Grand Prix in the end. That is too bad. He must have been pretty downhearted after losing. Wait just 1 second here. Mr. Engard was beating Mr. Kurita in the popularity polls.
Well, yeah, I guess, but...
Which means that in the defendant's eyes, the victim was not a rival at all. Which means he had no motive to kill at all. Oh, that's what we're pressing.
Oh.
Yes, I quite agree. Well, detective.
It's not, well, I guess if you put it that way, then yeah, pal. The defendant wouldn't have no motive.
Objection!
Detective, I'm beginning to see why you were fired.
Not you, Mr. Edwards, sir. That's...
I look forward to your pension negotiations.
No!
Poor Gumshoe! I now want a Gumshoe spinoff. Now, detective, let's continue with the testimony.
No, not my poor pension, too.
Detective, if you value your money, I suggest you proceed.
Yes, sir. We can talk about my pension later, sir.
What about what I was saying? Hello, anyone? Okay. I think this is the last thing we have in press. If any proof that the button belonged to the victim.
What do you mean, pal?
If you have any claim to back up, this button was ripped off to Jim in his costume.
But can't you tell by looking at it?
And the victim's blood's on it. Anyone could have smeared the blood on there afterward.
Mr. Edward, help me, sir.
Alright, I knew it had to be this piece of evidence. Now to reel this one in. Thread. Huh? The button was attached to the costume by thread, obviously. That thread snapped when the button was torn off. If you match up the ends of the thread on the costume with the thread on the button, it's a perfect match.
Yeah, that's it. That's a perfect match, pal.
That adds Edgeworth for you. Never misses a beat. Okay, so there has to be something. Oh. Has to be something. Okay. That makes sense. This is what we're pressing on, the premeditation.
Objection!
That's what we're pressing on. Okay. Wait a second.
What?
So the basis of your argument was that this was a premeditated murder is simply that my client bought a knife beforehand.
That's right, pal. The defendant
Did not buy this knife.
Huh?
Take a good look at the handle of this knife and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Huh?
Gatewater seal set into the handle.
Gatewater. I think I heard that name somewhere before.
That's the name of the hotel, the Gatewater Hotel.
Uh-oh.
The murder knife was actually property of the hotel. Which means this murder was not premeditated. Yes, that is very true. This is a very big... What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? I'm sorry, but the defense is simply too careless. What? I think whether the crime was premeditated or not has already been determined. How so? I admit that this knife is hotel property. There is no one currently on the police force that is dumb enough not to realize this.
But I didn't know.
The question is, where did this knife come from?
Why is it obvious? It came from the victim, Mr. Kurita's room.
Sorry, Your Honor, but that is incorrect. The victim ate a last meal before he was murdered. With that being the case, I would like to draw the court's attention to what was on top of the table. There is a knife and fork on the table.
Then, where in the world did this knife come from?
If it pleases the court, I would like for us to recall the room of the defendant, Mr. Matt Engard. Especially what was on top of his table. There is something missing. Perhaps it is a single knife. We investigated the leftover dishes for fingerprints, and while we were investigating, we came to the conclusion that Mr. Matt Engard's knife was missing. Ugh. Mr. Engard had gone to the victim's room with the knife he had used during dinner. Why would he carry a knife to kill, of course? And with that, I believe the prosecution has proven this was a premeditated murder.
Amazing, Mr. Edgeworth. Absolutely brilliant. A brilliant, clear deduction.
Seems like Edgeworth has this plan from the very beginning. This must be one of those traps, and I just walked headlong into it.
A murder weapon with fingerprints and a button for the victim's costume. There's quite a sizable amount of evidence here.
I can say that any further deliberation is a waste of Your Honor's time. Although, I wouldn't mind if the defense were to present evidence not yet shown to the court. Evidence not yet shown. It means evidence that the court hasn't seen yet. In other words, new evidence.
What does the defense have to say about this, Mr. Wright?
Well, Phoenix, the judge is favoring the prosecution right now. If we answer with something wrong here, that gavel of his will be ringing out to the sound of our defeat.
Mr. Wright, do you have something important and necessary to present to this court?
I assume we do.
Yes.
Now there's one piece of evidence that catches my attention, something that this court has yet to see.
Mr. Wright, I will say this one more time. I do not feel this trial needs to continue at all. However, I am giving you one chance, and only one.
What the judge is saying, Mr. Wright, is don't try pulling one of your usual bluffs here. If I mess this up, it's curtains for all of us.
Oh, you can present one piece and only one piece. Here's the biggest issue. I've already looked this up. It's a wine glass. No one drank out of it. It was found even though there was shit all over the floor. I thought at first we were supposed to bring up the suicides. But no, it's a wine glass.
Take that!
This is a wine glass, is it not?
Please look at the photo of the crime scene one more time. The scene is a mess because of the victim's struggle against the assailant. The vase is broken, his makeup is all over the floor. There were all these things at one point sitting on top of the dresser.
Well, yes, I see your point.
However, the glass is sitting on the top of the dresser is mysteriously untouched. The only thing that had not fallen over with everything else in this wine glass. This piece of evidence is more than strange enough to warrant further consideration. Well, what do you have to say to that?
Well, yes, it is a little particular.
Yes, isn't it? I thought it was. You can stop looking at me with those puppy dog eyes of yours. Mr. Edgeworth? What is it, Your Honor? Your opinion. You don't need my opinion. Because there's no special meaning to that glass. What? Safe to say that the glass was set there after the crime took place. But the person who discovered the body, Adrian Andrews, for example, she could have easily been so shocked that she set the glass down without thinking. That does sound very plausible. Mr. Wright? Could Miss Andrews really have set that glass down without thinking? I'm gonna say there's no way, because if we say it's possible, then it's like we're agreeing with Edgeworth. If I appear weak here, the trial is over. I can look for my proof later. For now, I should trust my instinct and point with certainty. They might just fall for it if you're thought-provoking enough. The defense would like to challenge the prosecution's theory. We would like to see something that proves it was Miss Andrew who set the cup on the table. You turned the situation on its head yet again, as usual. Mr. Edgeworth, do you have any proof to back up your claim? There's no way he has any. He's just bluffing. Unlike Mr. Wright, I never say anything unless I have evidence to support it. What? You're not thinking hard enough today, Wright. Did you think this wine glass escaped my notice? Then, of course it has been thoroughly inspected for fingerprints. Fingerprints. There were only one set of fingerprints left on this wine glass. Only one? Well, whose were they? They were not the victims nor the defendants. Rather, they were one of Adrian Andrews. What? That is why I said the person who had discovered the body had left it there. Are we done here, Mr. Wright? Ugh, I can't believe I fell into another one of his traps. Miss Andrews was probably holding the glass when she went to see Miss Corita. But upon seeing his dead body, she was stunned and set the glass down on the dresser. What you just said makes a lot of sense. Now do you see, Mr. Wright? You can't change any part of my scenario as it explains everything all too well. I've thought long and hard about this past year about what it means to be a prosecutor. And from here on out, I will show you the answer I have come to discover. Wait a second, Mr. Edgeworth. I think the prosecution has provided enough evidence for me to enter my verdict. Unfortunately, I cannot allow you to pass judgment yet. The prosecution has yet another witness we would like the court to hear from. Another witness. Yes. Bailiff, please bring in the next witness. What in the world is Mr. Edgeworth thinking?